put to rest the idea that King Menelik I of Ethiopia is a son of Solomon. That's from a union with the Queen of Sheba. Also, the Ark of the Covenant is in an Ethiopian church. There's also another spin off from all of this from the Rastafarian movement that says Haile Selassie, which was obviously a descendant of Menelik, is the lion of the tribe of Judah. This is all nonsense too. So I'll get into that later. Now, I usually get my compulsion to do videos after watching some Hebrew Israelite videos, and what they say. Basically, they just teach nonsense and lies. Most times, I just kind of shake my head and pass by. But sometimes they are so outrageous that I must come up with a response. I also get an opportunity to express some of these lying Negroes nonsense. Hopefully some of you out there will take notice and probably understand exactly what these people are teaching you, that these things are wrong, totally wrong. So I will be right back. In the meantime, I'm asking you to please consider subscribing and liking this video. Thank you. So I was watching this video. It's called Undeniable Proof That Africa is the Holy Land. I put a link to the description, a link to this video in the description, sorry. This guy here is one of the most prolific liars and purveyors of falsehood in Israel, man. Of course, in this video, he's falsely teaching that Africa is the Holy Land, that is Canaan of the Bible, and Ethiopia is Jerusalem. He further claimed that the Ark of the Covenant is there in Ethiopia. Now, man, I tell you, there's a lot of people who listen to this crap and, they're liking it and so forth. But I tell you this, if one likes to tell lie, he obviously needs those who like to listen to lies. Each complement the other. Oh man, you will always find people like these in the Hebrew Israel community. Who the cap fits, man, let them wear it. Without any further ado, let's listen more to this devil.
It all begins with Menelik I, son of King Solomon, and Makeda, the queen of Sheba, around 950 BCE. According to the legend, when Makeda visited the king, she became pregnant by him and gave birth in Abyssinia, or Ethiopia. After Menelik reached adulthood, he traveled to visit his father in Jerusalem.
So he starts teaching Bible doctrine from fables and legend. So now let us go to the Queen of Sheba in the Bible. The entire narrative about her is like in 1 Kings 10:2 through 1 Kings 10:13. But I'll just read out the first verse to explain, who she is. We read 1 Kings 10:1. And the Queen of Sheba heard the name of Solomon, and the name of the Lord. Notice the name of the Lord too. That's important. And she came to test him with enigmas. So the Bible doesn't give a name for her, but it is obviously that she is the queen of a domain called Sheba. So let us see what that is. That's H7614, BBD definition. 1. Son of Joktan and a descendant of Seth. Obviously this cannot fit because that one would be the son of Adam and Eve after Cain slew Abel. 2. Son of Ramah, grandson of Cush and a descendant of Ham. This rings a bell obviously, but let me go through the rest. 3. Son of Joktan, the son of Abraham by Keturah. This definitely does not fit because that would make him a Semite, a descendant of Abraham. So 4. A nation in southern Arabia. Okay, so we know that the only two that fits here is the son of Ramah, grandson of Cush, and descendants of Ham. So this woman is a Hamite. And obviously, Sheba is a place in southern Arabia, today's Yemen. Now, for those Afrocentric who might feel a little hurt because I put the Queen of Sheba in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, as many of the people of these places are considered white. In ancient times, though, these places were populated by so-called black people until the invasion by the Caucasian ethnicities. So don't worry, the Queen of Sheba was black. The woman is of Hamitic stock and would be black. So where did this idea about the Queen of Sheba being from Ethiopia comes from? It comes from the book written by man. That is the Kibra Nagast. We will get into that a little down the line. Now there's something important that we need to learn about this woman. We read in 1 Kings 10:1. And the Queen of Sheba heard the name of Solomon and the name of the Lord. A lot of people miss that. And she came to test him with enigmas. You will have a little, some verses later on will explain why she is a saved person. She didn't come to Jerusalem to have sex. She came to learn about the God of Israel. Previous to that, these people are sun worshippers and moon worshippers, and they just worship idols. So this was a big eye opening for this woman. Now we have proof that this woman is a saved woman. Just like the remember the Ethiopian eunuch? Um, she was saved. She's definitely saved because we read the following. Matthew 12:42. This is spoken by Jesus Christ himself. The queen of the south shall rise in judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and a greater than Solomon is here. Now, the queen of the south is obviously the one referenced in 1 Kings 10:1. Here, Jesus is contrasting her with the many unbelieving natural born sons, that is, Israelites of the kingdom, admonishing them then and now. Jesus said, Matthew 8:11 to 12. And I say to you, that many from the east and the west shall come, and shall be laid down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of the heavens. But the sons of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and the gnashing of teeth. So all you Israelites who are talking about the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia and all that kind of nonsense, you're going to find out that many Gentiles will be saved and leave you to judgment.
Because we're going to talk about the hunt for the ark. I'm going to share this article with you. Let me move this over. All right, y'all can see that. Let's see. All right. All right, so this is from Historic Mysteries. The pop-ups. Italy's quest for the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia. Now remember, modern-day Ethiopia was Abyssinia. The Ark of the Covenant, the holiest of artifact stone to house the Ten Commandments, supposedly existed 3,000 years ago. Tradition indicates that Nebuchadnezzar stole it and destroyed it when the Babylonians sacked Jerusalem and plundered King Solomon's temple in 586 BCE. However, some experts believe that the real ark survived. The most credible theory states that the ark found its way to Ethiopia during King Solomon's rule around 10th century BCE.
So, okay, he's getting his information from, the books of man. One of these theories was that the ark made its way to Ethiopia. That's not true. The Bible says something different. Yeah, about the myths that state that the ark was hidden in a cave on Mount Nebo by the prophet Jeremiah. That's come out of the Apocrypha book, 2 Maccabees 2:7. You see, that couldn't happen either because the ark just doesn't lie around. It's hidden in a chamber inside the temple. A chamber in a chamber inside the temple. And only one man can see it, and he can only do it once a year. And that is the high priest. So all this nonsense about Menelik taking it, like the ark was lying around somewhere and Menelik just take it up and went to Ethiopia with it. All nonsense. The Bible tells you what happens to the Ark of the Covenant. We read here in 2 Kings 24:13. And he brought forth from there all the treasures of the ones in the house of the Lord. I guess that's Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. And the treasures of the house of the king. And he cut off all the items of gold which Solomon the king of Israel made for the temple of the Lord, according to the saying of the Lord. Well, of course, this translation is incorrect. It's kind of leading you to think that Nebuchadnezzar cut up the treasures like the spoons and the cups. No, that didn't happen. I got this from the stupid King James Version. What that really is saying, or what it should say, is that he separated them from the temple. Notice in the verse also that verse 2 Kings 24:13. Notice that the Babylonian did not take the Ark of the Covenant. It remained in the Holy of Holies. Later, Zedekiah, the then king, rebelled against the king of Babylon. Therefore, he sent a military expedition against Jerusalem. This time, the Babylonian burned the temple. It is obvious that the Ark of the Covenant was still in the temple at that time. People can speculate all they want about it being taken out of the temple and hid in in a cave in Mount Nebo. The Bible did not say that. Plus, Jeremiah was a child of God. He would not be, going inside the Holy of Holies because he's not the high priest. He could not do that. Now, the fate of the Ark of the Covenant is laid out in the following verse. It is not in any church in Ethiopia or elsewhere. 2 Kings 25:8-10. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, probably messing that one up, but you read the verse yourself. Captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. So that was what happened to the Ark of the Covenant. It was burnt up with the temple. So let us quit, to the chase, man. All these crazy ideas we just discussed, they have one single origin. It's called the Kebra Negas. Now, written about the 14th century CE, the Kebra Negas, otherwise called the Glory of Kings, is an important text to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It claims the Queen of Sheba is the Queen Makeda and identifies the land of Sheba as ancient Ethiopia. According to the Kebra Negas, Queen Makeda traveled to Jerusalem and has a love affair with King Solomon. Makeda then returned to the land of Sheba, giving birth to a son, Menelik I. Menelik is raised in Ethiopia, but when he turned 22, he traveled to Jerusalem to meet his father. King Solomon is delighted with his firstborn son, and he tries to convince Menelik to remain in Israel and succeed him as king. Menelik chose to return to the land of Sheba, that's Ethiopia. Solomon bequeathed the Ark of the Covenant to Menelik, who takes it back home to Ethiopia with him. To this day, many Ethiopians believe that the Ark of the Covenant resides within the chapel of the tablet next to the church of Miriam, Tijon in Askum, Ethiopia. Man, if the Ark of the Covenant is in this donkey little church, don't you think someone would have seen it by now? Oh, come on. Ethiopians claim the Queen of Sheba is part of their heritage, and through her union with King Solomon, Ethiopia also claimed a connection between that king and the Davidic monarchy of Israel. Now, a couple things here. By the way, Rehoboam was Solomon's first son, and that's who succeeded him. So I can't see how Solomon was asking Menelik to succeed him. That doesn't make sense. But another thing is the land of Sheba. You know, they use the word interchangeably. Sheba, Aksum, Ethiopia. Now we already talked about that. That the archaeological evidence already showed that the kingdom of Sheba during the biblical times is modern Yemen. And another thing too, there is no record of this famed Queen Makeda. She appears to be just fictional. The Kebra Nagas makes a great story and a fun reading, but it's just myth and legend. This is not like the Bible. The Bible cannot afford to make mistakes. Now listen to this. See how they make a mistake here. According to the Kebra Nagas, Menelik I reigns 975 to 950 BC, but Solomon reigned 971 to 931 BCE. This would make Solomon younger than Menelik I. So how could he be the father of Menelik? Notice that you count downwards for BC dates to get the year 1. Somebody didn't do their maths correctly. So this is not like the Bible, man. The Bible doesn't make mistakes. You see, it's the perfect word of God. There's no mistake in it. This one is just man's book. But yet there's another problem with Menelik I being descended from Solomon. If he did, Haile Selassie, who is a descendant of Menelik, should have the E1B1A haplogroup. Since we have learned that, Haile Selassie descended from Menelik, remember, we know that. He's from the line of Solomon going all the way down to the last emperor, and that was Haile Selassie. So you'd expect Haile Selassie to have E1B1A haplogroup, but no. Haile Selassie comes from the Amara tribe, obviously from the ruling class. He is an Aksumite Hamite. Given the fact that by migration many different DNA haplogroups converge in an area, we see Amaras of various DNA haplogroup. But there's one he is clearly not, and that is E1B1A. You see, there's not even an entry for E1B1A, because actually Ethiopia doesn't have many E1B1A actually. He could not come from the line of Solomon, obviously. Now, one last thing I want to say. You see, most people are not paying attention, or they don't care. Anything these Hebrew Israelites teach them is fine, especially if it's entertaining. But let us look and examine this argument, from this guy. He thinks Africa is the Holy Land, that is Canaan. He thinks the whole of Africa is Canaan in the Bible, and Ethiopia is Jerusalem. Actually, I suggest you view the entire video. But listen to this little excerpts from him here.
Understand this. If you want to understand prophecy, you have to know who the people are. You have to know where the land is. All of those biblical things took place in Africa. This is why, unless something crazy happens, I won't even talk on this no more because I'm 100% convinced. I don't say that. But then again, I'm the one that's doing the digging. I'm the one that's opening up the doors and unlocking the hidden places and finding the research and looking at it, right? So I'm convinced. You know, you ain't gonna be convinced unless you do it yourself.
But the Bible will show that he's an idiot. Let's read Matthew 12:42. The queen of the south shall rise in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth. See that? From the ends of the earth. That's mean a far place, far away, to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, a greater than Solomon is here. Therefore, if she came from the ends of the earth, very far away, to see Solomon in Jerusalem, why is he saying this? Now listen to this part.
It all begins with Menelik I, son of King Solomon, and Makeda, the queen of Sheba, around 950 BCE. According to the legend, when Makeda visited the king, she became pregnant by him and gave birth in Abyssinia, Ethiopia. After Menelik reached adulthood, he traveled to visit his father in Jerusalem. He didn't have to go too far. It was in Lalibela. After Menelik reached adulthood, he traveled to visit his father in Jerusalem. He didn't have to go too far. It was in Lalibela. After Menelik reached adulthood, he traveled to visit his father in Jerusalem. He didn't have to go too far. It was in Lalibela.
Since he teaches that Ethiopia is Jerusalem, that means Menelik is already in Jerusalem. So, you see, he catches up on himself and realizes that he's making a mistake and his statement is false. Ethiopia is not Jerusalem. See how he tries to make a comeback and failed miserably. Truth just overtake him in a blink of a second. If Menelik is coming from Ethiopia, which he calls Jerusalem, going to Jerusalem in the Middle East is obviously a great distance, as the verse we just read said. He immediately realized it couldn't work, so he quickly quipped that Menelik didn't have to go far. He just proved that Ethiopia is not Jerusalem. So Ethiopia is not Jerusalem, my friends. The old adage says, oh, what tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.